Okay, so picture this. Deep in the highlands of Mexico, a ghost city is discovered, but long, long after it was abandoned. And this place, it's colossal. So big, so mysterious, that it's been capturing people's imaginations for centuries. It's a story that really starts with one big puzzle.
I mean, we're talking about a genuine metropolis. At its peak, this was one of the largest cities in the entire world. A massive, sprawling urban center built with just mind-boggling precision. And get this was way before many of the famous cities in Europe even existed. So, fast forward hundreds of years after it fell into ruin. The Aztecs, they stumble upon it, and they were so completely awestruck. They looked at this place and thought, there's no way humans built this. This has to be the work of gods. So, they're the ones who gave it the name we still use today, Teotihuacan. Its real name? Well, like so much else about this place, it was just lost to time. And right there, that's the central mystery we're going to dive into. Who on earth were these people? Who had the skill to build such a magnificent city? And maybe even more importantly, why did they just vanish? Why did they abandon it all, leaving behind almost no record that they were ever there? Okay, so the people themselves, a total enigma. But the city they left behind, well, that gives us some pretty incredible clues about who they were and how they lived. You could say it's kind of like we're reading the blueprints of a lost civilization. So at its height, right around the middle of the first millennium, this city was home to an estimated 150,000 people. Now just to put that in perspective for you, that made it a global megacity for its time. We're talking bigger than pretty much any city in Europe at that same moment in history. Just incredible. And this wasn't just some big, sprawling settlement, you know? No, this was a masterclass in urban planning. The entire city is organized around this massive central road. They call it the Avenue of the Dead. And on either side, you've got these colossal pyramids of the sun and moon. The whole shebang is laid out on a super precise grid with really sophisticated stuff like drainage systems. Amazing.
Now, what's really interesting here is that Teotihuacan didn't just pop up out of nowhere. It was actually built on the foundations of earlier Mesoamerican cultures, like the Zapotecs. These guys had already developed complex calendars, writing, even their own pyramid traditions. What Teotihuacan did was take all those ideas and just scale them up to a level nobody had ever seen before.
And this really highlights a fascinating paradox, right? From these earlier cultures, we know that daily life happened in practical, pretty simple houses made of mud and reeds. But then you have Teotihuacan, which is defined by these monumental stone structures, perfectly aligned with the stars and built to last forever. The technological leap from one to the other is just staggering. All right, to really understand this city, we have to look at its spiritual heart. Because right at the center of their entire worldview was this powerful, enduring deity, a god whose influence would end up spreading all across Mesoamerica for the next 1,000 years.
We're talking, of course, about Quetzalcoatl, the Feathered Serpent. The name itself is so cool. It combines the magnificent Quetzal bird, which stands for the heavens, with the serpent, which represents the earth. So you've got this deity that's all about the connection between the sky and the ground. And he was also tied to knowledge in the planet Venus.
And yeah, the people of Teotihuacan dedicated one of their most spectacular pyramids to him. Seriously, it's covered in these incredible, almost fearsome sculptures. I'm talking hundreds of carved heads of the feathered serpent just jutting right out from the walls. It's just a stunning testament to their devotion and their artistic skill.
But archaeology has revealed a much darker side to all this worship. Buried deep, deep within the pyramid's foundations, they found the remains of more than 100 people. A lot of them seem to have been warriors, and they were buried with their hands tied. It means this sacred monument was actually consecrated with human life, tying their spiritual beliefs directly to military power and sacrifice.
So just when you think you're starting to get a handle on Teotihuacan, wouldn't you know it, archaeologists go and find something that just deepens the mystery even more. They found riddles hidden deep, deep beneath the stone.
Okay, so get this. In recent years, investigators found a tunnel underneath the Pyramid of the Feathered Serpent that had been sealed shut for almost 2,000 years. They carefully cleared it out, and inside they found thousands of precious offerings, jade statues, shells, jewelry. But at the very end of the tunnel, in a series of hidden chambers, they found something completely unexpected: large quantities of liquid mercury. So the big question is, why? Why on earth would they put liquid mercury in a sealed chamber?
Well, one of the most compelling theories is that the shimmering, reflective liquid was meant to be a symbol, a representation of a sacred river or a lake that leads to the underworld. It kind of suggests they were literally trying to create a supernatural landscape, maybe even a portal to another realm, right underneath their most sacred temple.
And these underground discoveries aren't the only puzzle. In some of the burials of the city's elite, archaeologists have found skeletons with these intentionally deformed, elongated skulls. Now, this was a practice that existed in other ancient cultures for sure, but finding it here, it just adds another fascinating layer to the huge question of who these people actually were and what they believed. So let's recap, right? We have a city of immense scale. We have profound spiritual beliefs. We have some really bizarre burial rituals. But the one thing we absolutely do not have is their story, told in their own words.
And that, right there, is what makes Teotihuacan so haunting. Think about it. Complex societies that build things on this scale, they almost always develop writing, to manage things, to record their history, to brag about their rulers. But here, nothing. We found no written language. There are no big statues of a specific king or queen. And because of that, we have absolutely no text explaining why, around the year 600, this incredible, vibrant metropolis was systematically burned and then just abandoned.
And yet, even in its silence, its influence was, well, deafening. The cultures that came much later, like the Toltecs and the Aztecs, they looked back at Teotihuacan as this sacred, almost legendary place. They adopted its gods, they copied its architecture, they basically carried its cultural DNA forward. They made sure its legacy would echo for centuries to come.
So that's where we're left, with a city built to align perfectly with the stars, but built by a people we can't even name, ruled by leaders we can't identify, a people who just vanished without leaving a note behind. It's such a powerful reminder, isn't it, that some of the greatest stories in all of history are the ones that were never written down.